Become an internet success with this three-step process. Okay, so you want to be successful online. Who doesn't, right? You make a lot of money, but how do you do it? I've got a three-step success path that you're going to love. You'll want to watch this video to the very end, and then you can be successful online. Look, I have fears, you have fears, we all have fears. Tim Ferriss has fears. Who's Tim Ferriss? He wrote the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, and he recently gave a TED talk which was very interesting, and he talks about fears. And what he said was the things that we most fear doing or saying or asking are probably the things that we probably should be doing, saying, and asking. So how do you overcome that? Well, he gave a three-step process, and I'd like to share that with you right now, and I think it's going to be really beneficial to you. We tend to move towards comfort and away from discomfort, and that's how human beings are built. Unfortunately, that doesn't always serve us well. It's in us to protect ourselves, because I guess many years ago we all lived in caves, and if we walked outside that cave, an animal could eat you. Okay, so it was pretty dangerous. Now you're going to walk out your front door, and that's not going to happen anymore, but you still may be walking out that front door with a lot of fear. So hopefully by going through these three steps here, I can show you how to overcome the fear. I think they're very well explained, and you'll be able to overcome those things that are preventing you from being very successful. Now the first thing I'm going to tell you, and Tim would tell you, is write down what you're afraid of. Write it down. What is it that you're afraid of? What is the things that's really scaring you? I know when I was in high school, I was very afraid of talking in front of people. It was a very scary thing for me to talk in front of people. I wouldn't stand up and read out of a book. I wouldn't do any of that. I was very frightened. So I came across as the tough kid who just didn't care. But bottom line is I was just scared. You know, I didn't want to get made fun of, and I don't think most people do. Today I make a living talking, which is kind of funny. But back then I couldn't do it, and I figured out that was the one thing I really needed to work on in my life, was to get over being able to talk in front of a group of people. And I ended up making a living doing it, which is kind of funny. You never know what direction you're going to go if you actually approach those fears and do those things you're really scared of. So you need to write them down. First off, you got to realize, what are they? You know, is your fear starting a business? Is your fear standing up and talking in front of people? What is your fear? Is your fear of getting on video? What is your fear? What are the things that you're really scared of? Because those are the things we need to work on, but you got to identify them first. Now once you've written down these fears, number two is create subcategories underneath each fear. You want to have subcategories. So an example would be, if you want to start a business, okay, let's say you wanted to start an online business, you would be really successful at it, and that was what was scaring you was starting that business. So we would write down, you know, I'm scared to start an online business. So underneath that, what you want to do is you want to write 10 to 20 things that are worst case scenarios. 10 to 20 things. In other words, what are the 10 to 20 things that could really happen, that would be really bad to you, would be worst case scenarios from starting an online business? You need to do that first so you can see what they are. And many times when you write these things down, they're not so bad. When you see them, you're like, oh, it's not so bad. You know, I waste some time. You know, I lost $1,000 or whatever it is. It's not near as bad as what you think it is. Then next to all those things that you've written down, those worst case scenarios, you want to write next to it things that you could do to prevent them. Okay, now Google is an awesome source right now, because you could actually Google any of those things to prevent those problems you were worrying about, those worst case scenarios, and find solutions to those problems. So now we're going to write down all the solutions next to all those worst case scenarios. And then category three is going to be repair. You know, if those worst case scenarios happened and you couldn't fix them, you know, what could you do to repair them? Okay, so let's say worst case scenario, I went online to start a business and I lost $1,000. Could you ever make back that $1,000? Could you ever get that $1,000 back, or is it lost forever and there's nothing you can do about it? And we all know, yeah, of course you could get it back. You can always get more money. That's always an easy thing to do. I mean, you maybe have to work hard, you have to work another shift at work or do something, but that could be fixed. And by doing this, we can see that worst case scenario, prevention things, and repair things, it's really not that bad. Now number three, what you want to do is write down the benefits of succeeding, or at least trying to do the things that you're afraid of. So in that case of starting an online business, what are the benefits of it? Well, you know, if I start an online business and it succeeds, well, gosh, I could quit my job, and I could travel, and I could spend more time with my family, and I could pay off my credit cards, and you know, I could buy a new house, I get a new car. There's a lot of benefits. And what you're going to find when you start writing down all the benefits of doing the thing you're afraid of, they usually far outweigh the negatives of worst case scenarios. Let me repeat that one more time. the benefits of doing the things you most fear will oftentimes more outweigh the negatives of the worst case scenarios. So bottom line is, you're going to find out that maybe you should do these things. Maybe they're not as bad as you think. I know, I had fears of it when I started my online business, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to waste time and money, I'm not going to get anything out of it. But it turned into a great business, okay, in many different areas. I went to go in different directions. I have courses now. I have my survival food company, got a YouTube channel now. None of those things were on the horizon when I started. They weren't. That wasn't something I even thought about. I was selling cell phone cases for $2 and $3. Okay, that was my product in the beginning, but none of these other things would have came available if I hadn't have tried, if I hadn't have done those things that I was probably scared of doing. But I had a strong motivation, right? I had a strong motivation. I had 2 kids, single dad, and I didn't want to do what I was doing anymore. I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. I was done. The job I was in, I was done. Didn't want to do it anymore. So you also got to have that motivation, and I didn't put that in there, but I think that motivation is super important. Okay, so we've got that list of all the things that we can benefit from. Now what we want to look at is the cost of inaction. Okay, this is a painful one, the cost of inaction. And that's what I did. I looked at the cost of inaction, and the cost of inaction was I had to stay in the job. I had to keep working for that same guy. I could get fired from my job. My pay could go down. I mean, there were so many negatives to the cost of inaction that it far outweighed all the negatives of action. And you'll probably find that too. And when you're doing this cost of inaction, you probably want to take it out maybe 6 or 12 months, something like that. It's kind of hard to do it further than that, but in 6 to 12 months a lot of things can change. I know it did for me in 6 to 12 months, and I know at 24 months we hit over $1 million, and I was like, wow, what if I had stayed in my job? What if and the what if part is the scary part, because I'm going to ask you right now, what if you don't try? What if you don't try? And what are you missing? What could happen? And being in internet sales, I've talked to a lot of internet marketers, people who quit their jobs and went online and did all these things. I know a female who was into exercise, and her car was breaking down, and she just got married, and her husband decided to start an exercise group, and she had won some awards in bodybuilding and stuff, and she's a multimillionaire now, and she did that in her 20s, and it was all because she just thought she'd try and see what happened. She has a following of 1 million people. Now when you look at situations like that, you're like, what about the cost if she didn't act? What was the cost of inaction there? It was millions of dollars. It's huge. Okay, the cost of action was a little bit of fear of things that probably weren't going to happen anyhow, which they didn't, and she ended up becoming a multimillionaire. So what is the cost of inaction? You got to ask yourself that. What could you possibly do if you do try? What could you possibly do? And I got to tell you, looking back, it's real easy to look at it and go, yeah, it was the best decision. It was the best decision to do these things that I was afraid of. But bottom line, it's almost always the best decision. It's almost always the best decision to do the things you most fear, because somehow your system, your body, is telling you, you fear this thing and you should probably do it. That's what your body's really telling you, is you should probably do it, because you wouldn't be thinking about it otherwise, right? So my fear of standing up and talking, right, back then, if I hadn't overcome that fear, where would I be? I don't know. But I know one thing, overcoming that fear really helped, and it will probably help you tremendously too, but you won't know unless you do it. So work through this process. Okay, look at the things you fear, look at the cost of inaction, and just do these things. Okay, it's not going to be that bad if it doesn't work out, and the flip side is it may work out. And I'll share one other thing with you. When I started selling online, it didn't work out. I'm going to tell you that it didn't work out, because I started selling online, started selling cell phone cases, and I didn't make any money. Okay, I didn't make any money. I lost money on the inventory. However, by doing that, I learned how to do certain things online. I learned how to list a product on eBay. I learned how to list products on Amazon. I learned how to set up payment gateways. I learned all these other little things that helped me in my next product. My next product made me a little bit of money, but not much. But my next product led me to another product, which did make me a lot of money. And I would have never gotten there if I had let that fear of starting the business online hold me back. You can't do it, guys. I'm telling you, listen to me right now. Look at me, you got to start. You got to start. And even if you fail, keep going. That's what happened to me. I had many failures in the beginning. I just kept going, because the alternative of working for somebody else, the alternative of working for a boss I don't like, the alternative of maybe losing my job on down the road as I got older, you know, that was much more fearful to me than just starting something. So I'm here to tell you, you can do this. Start something, get something going. You can do this. Thanks so much for listening this far in the video. I really appreciate it. That tells me right there that you can complete things. If you got this far in the video, you can complete things. Okay, you don't need to worry about stuff anymore. You got this. I got your back. Matter of fact, if you got any questions, put it in the comments section below. And you may run into obstacles, and I want to be the person here to help you. It's not unheard of for somebody to put a question down here and for me to answer them, but actually go out and do some research and give them links and tell them what they need to do and where they need to go to do it. So if you're that person and you need some help, put your comments down there. I would love to help you. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down there. If it's red, it should turn gray. As soon as it does, a bell's going to pop up next to it. You need to ring the bell, turn on all bell notifications so that you know when I do a new video. And I also do live training too, so you can come on to one of these live trainings and ask me any questions you want. I can help you out. Thank you so much for listening to this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that little bell right there so you can be notified every time I do a new video. Also, click on one of those videos there. Keep watching on my channel.